Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to do one of our buddy Keith's from the Malted Man Cake's favorite whiskeys, Dustin.
Yes, sir.
One he turned you on to, the Springbank 12 Burgundy. 53.5% ABV. This particular one was distilled November of 2003, bottled in May 2016, outturn of 10,260 bottles, and matured in first Fill Burgundy Barrels.
Yes, sir.
Dustin, as you know, Keith was the one that gave you inspiration to buy this one. You had this bottle for a long time. Where'd you find it?
I found it online, and I unfortunately did pay a little bit much for it.
It happens.
Yeah, unfortunately, I never saw these locally. Maybe they were out, and maybe I just didn't realize it at the time. So I bought it after the release, and it's a UK bottle, so as you can tell, I definitely had to have it shipped over here.
You know, I like the fact they try to go with a burgundy color as far as the label. Mm-hmm. Burgundy's sort of an odd color, but my dad loved burgundy cars. He had a 64 Impala Burgundy. He had a 96 Corvette Burgundy. And I don't know why he kept getting that car, but he liked red, but he didn't want a red car.
Yeah.
So he thought he'd look, I don't know, cooler if it was burgundy.
Maybe the cops won't chase you as much.
I don't know, something like that. I don't know why he always went to the burgundy, but I think at the vet he wanted a 6-speed instead of an automatic, but I'm getting way off track here. So anyway, so again, Springbank 12-year-old Burgundy cask, 53.5% ABV, like with all of these.
And so this is one of like their annual releases they do every year. Mm-hmm. So every year they do a different wood. Mm-hmm. And this was maybe one of the first ones. I don't know the full history. I know they've done a rum wood.
Yes.
They've done a bourbon wood, which I've never seen. They've done a sherry wood, mm-hmm. which we've reviewed. Mm-hmm. And they've also done, they just came out with a Madeira wood.
Yeah.
And if I see one, I might buy it. We'll see.
Sure.
So far, I haven't seen any of them.
But yeah, kind of a light color. I would say light caramel.
Yeah.
For the most part, on this particular one. What are you picking up my nose, my friend?
Burgundy.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, legitimately, it's like butterscotch, burgundy, like red wine.
Butterscotch candy.
Yeah, it's very savory, but not like in the normal like Springbank sense.
No.
Like it's savory in like a soy sauce almost. I mean, it's got that kind of like.
Yeah, it's shocking how much of that toasted sourdough is not here.
No, I mean there's something toasted and sour, but it's a totally different thing.
Yeah, very, 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 very sour smell to it initially.
Mm. I actually really like it, Mike.
Very
but
dirty.
It's dirty and it's a little jarring, like when you're used to Springbank, because there's a sweetness to Springbank that I usually get that's not here.
No.
It's been overpowered.
Yeah, this is between sugar, icing, and soy sauce. You know,
Exactly.
like one's for ice cream and one's for sushi.
Yeah.
Like this is for sushi.
Yeah, like this was, this is actually just on the nose. Like this would go really nicely with a steak.
I was thinking this would go really nicely with fish. Some raw fish.
I'm not a big sushi guy, so that's not one I'd go to. But yeah, I mean, there is almost like a spiciness here, like similar to a ginger.
Very much so. So I have a couple of customers who are buddies of mine, and a couple times a month we go to this sushi spot. Mm-hmm. Sushi spot. And one guy doesn't like ginger at all, so I get all of his ginger. So like usually like we get there and I pile the ginger up. I usually kind of have it in front of me and eat around kind of in a semicircle. And that powerful ginger right underneath me, I'm getting a little bit of that too.
Nice.
With almost a tad bit, maybe it's just me thinking this now, of that wasabi too.
I can see it, yeah.
Just a tad bit of eye water, if that makes any sense.
So here's why this is such a good whiskey.
Give it to me.
When you go in, you get all of what we just talked about initially.
Mm-hmm.
That burgundy, that should go with a steak or maybe, again, wasabi, or, replacement sushi. And then it transitions to nothing but good old baked sugar cookie, Springbank malt. And you get both of them very distinctly here. And it's perfect because it's exactly what you're looking at. And it's like getting the most unique version of like a Springbank 12 I've ever had. Just kind of bringing in that wonderful, like interesting kind of red wine, burgundy kind of notes, salty, savory there, but then transitioning to super sweet. And I don't think it's actually that sweet. It tastes sweet because it's contrasting with that initial wine finish.
Yeah.
Did you put water in there?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you took a drink. So initially, this is kind of reminded me of a little bit of that wine influence from the Lefroy Carchus Port and Wine from this year. I know this isn't port. This is a different type of wine cast, but a well done version of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is you have the really tannicky wine notes, but then on top of that, I'm getting a lot on the palate initially. Again, a lot of red berries. I'm picking up the red berries again, on there, but then kind of that sourness sort of comes up and sort of a crab stick ginger note.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I mean, there was a lot of sour on there. It wasn't just subtle. It was
No, it was a lot.
sour.
But you're right. The longer it sits here, and as soon as I swallow the aftertaste, the baking spices kind of build up. And again, maybe a little bit of apple skin, maybe
that.
something a little bit darker. Maybe it's plum skin, something along those lines. Something tough, if that makes any sense. A little hard to get through if you had to chew on it. You know what I mean? Yeah, and then that sourness sort of comes back at the end. And again, a little bit of that soft dough, sourdough notes right there too. And it feels like you're in the kitchen. You know what I mean? Kind of at the end, that's kind of like the last lingering thought is, I'm kind of sitting in the kitchen, it's cold outside and grandma's making desserts for tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, with water, Mike, Springbank is starting to come back through. I'm starting to get some of that maritime note. I'm starting to get some of that Springbank sweet malt.
With the water, it kind of helped cut through the cask maturation. You know what I mean? It made that cask take its step back, a decent step back at this point, maybe 2 or 3 steps back. And what's left over is, that distillery characteristic.
It made the wine a little sweeter and sharper up front. Like, I get it, wine right away, really sharp. It hits me harder now.
But it really took away...
Then it fades away.
Yeah, it really kind of took away everything I didn't like about the wine notes. Neat. Like, it kind of just, it stripped away all the harsh elements and just left the good stuff. Like, far less of that soy sauce. Far less of that ginger note. And now it becomes more pastry, more dessert.
Yeah.
More in line with what I normally would think was Springbank.
Yep, absolutely. Although to me, part of me liked that soy sauce and liked that whole, this is something I could have with savory meat. So
Sure.
I go back and forth. That's the beauty of the whiskey, is it's like getting 2 distinct different whiskeys with water.
Well, like we were talking about earlier, when we were sampling the Lagavulin 122, and we're like, you can tell with these specialty bottlings from some of these premium distilleries that they don't want to just replicate the same thing over and over again to a lesser or greater degree. They want to kind of change it up a little bit, kind of push the boundaries. Nothing crazy, but kind of want to, go left, go right, go up, go down, moving around with it a little bit, and that just makes it interesting.
Yep, absolutely.
Because the same pillars are still there. But you can do a lot with cask maturation, where you're aged in the warehouse, ABV you stick it in, all the details.
Oh, absolutely. Now, with water on the palate, you're getting more savory, you're getting more salty, you're getting more maritime. You're starting to pick up the Springbank peat notes there. And to be honest, I mean, that's what I love about a good Springbank is it's peated, but it's not overbearing. It's different. It's kind of got a little bit of funk. And that's all coming about more here. It's not as funky as like some of the more heavily sherried ones, but it's still bringing up some of that Springbank funk. It's bringing out just feeling more savory.
So, Springbank, there are a few elements to it. The funk really isn't here strong, but the sourdough's here. You know what I mean? So it left the funk, brought the sourdough, and still you can tell a little bit, you still have a little bit of the cask influence too. So it's kind of weird what pieces it leaves behind and what pieces it decides to pick up. It's almost like they were in a cafeteria. You're like, I'll take a little bit of this. I'm not going to take any of that today. I'm not feel like eating a salad, but let's go with the extra dessert. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
That sort of thing. Where as far as whiskey score on this one?
So, Mike, I'm going to go with I think a fairly, almost too high of a score here, but I'm going to go 89.
I'm going to go 87.
Okay.
It's not that, I was going back and forth between an 87 and an 88. Now, whenever I look at these specialty bottlings, I think to myself, is a normal 12-year-old that I'm normally used to a Springbank, is this better, or would I rather have the normal one, or would I rather have this?
Yep.
I mean, this is a nice change, but I don't know if I would go back to this change as something that I would want on a regular basis. Does that make sense?
Yeah, see, for me, this is actually probably would be my favorite version of the 12, which has me very excited because, Mike, for the first time, as far as I know ever, Springbank's official 12 for this year's release contains a little Burgundy. And so I'm really excited if I ever see one of those.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a nice change. I like it. It's not that. It's just, it's nice for a change. It's nice for every day.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at on it.
Yeah, I'm a little higher, but again, I think I like the Burgundy. I like the dirtiness here. This is probably my favorite whiskey that I think I would go in and say dirty.
Yeah, so we're just flip-flop with that Climbless 23, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
It appears by comments I may have been right on that one.
hey, you know,
There is no right or wrong.
to each their own. Exactly. I'm like,
There is no right or wrong. Anyway, that's where we're at as far as this one goes. So again, one of our buddies' favorite Springbank releases. So Dustin decided to grab a bottle of it. He's been working his way down with this for a long time. So
yep.
I think we got probably the best out of this bottle.
Yeah, and I might have another one.
Yeah, do you?
That is, yeah.
Oh, that figures. See, I got you buying duplicates now. That's how you got to do it. You always feel better about drinking the first one. You got duplicates.
Exactly. This one would probably be up here right now if I didn't have a second.
That's right. It's so much easier to drink it when you know.
Yeah, when you got one and it's these limited edition releases, you're just like,
Oh, sorry guys, I forgot to bring that today.
Exactly.
It was right there.
Otherwise, I'm like, hey, yeah, have a pour.
Yeah, it's way different. All right, so anyway, you're at 89. This one I'm at 87. We want to once again thank you for joining for another whiskey review or to hearing your thoughts in the comment section. And Dustin, until next time, what do we wish the folks?
Happy drinking.
See you then.